and sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Monday, December 27th, 2021. Just 4 days left till 2022 as we bring the ball down and get ready for that new year. But before then, we got some games to go over here. And actually, in about 5 minutes, the Quick Lane Bowl is about to kick off. I'll just verbally talk about a lot of sharps seem to be leaning towards the home team here. It's basically a home game for Western Michigan. That line is at 7. The actual model number had Nevada -1, but due to some guys not playing, injuries, COVID, yada, 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 the line has been pushed to 7 and a late drop to 6.5 right now at Pinnacle. But all across the Vegas Strip, it is 7. And at our friends at Circa, it's currently 6.5 right now. So some things going on there. But NFL Sunday is over. Scotty put together a hell of a menu. Congrats there. It was this late in the year, COVID, some teams just are rounding into form. Some others are crumbling by the wayside. And the cream is definitely rising to the top. But without further ado, let's get to my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, the man, the myth, with the plan. From the Palm Tree State, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Morning, Jeff. And well, I guess it's another Monday after a pretty pleasant Sunday here today, or at least for me, it was that way. Just a real quick note on that Quick Lane Bowl game. When I wrote the book, the actual line was Nevada -6.5, and that's when they had the quarterback was going to play, and he's now out. The head coach is gone. So that's where all this line move comes from. Now, having said that, I got 3 minutes here before kickoff. I would tell you that I would take Nevada in the points all day long here. And the reason is, and no matter how good this quarterback was, and I guarantee you, if you were to go to talk to everybody and they go, well, who's the Nevada quarterback? Nobody's going to tell you who he was in the first place. So yeah, he's a good quarterback, but at the same time that he's a good quarterback, nobody never heard of him anyhow. So the backup quarterback that they have is a JUCO transfer. He's got a big arm. And if you've heard me talk about the MAC, they can't defend anything. So it doesn't matter really. I get it. The head coach is gone. The starting quarterback is gone. But this is the MAC we're talking about. I get it. It's sort of a home game for Western Michigan playing in Detroit, but and they got a good offense. Don't get me wrong. They got a good offense, and Nevada's not got a great defense. But the point swing is unbelievable. It's way too much. I don't know if there's a college kid worth that many points to begin with at any level. So give me the points all day long in that Nevada game. And, that's kind of how I feel about that one.
Yeah, and again, just following social media, some of our contacts out in Vegas, yada, yada, yada. Again, the computer model was 61-1, and then the crash, obviously, quarterback, wide receiver, coach, yada, yada, yada. It is a home game. It is at Ford Field. So technically a home game here. Unfortunately, the locals got postponed at 2:30, East Carolina and Boston College, due to COVID. And there's a lot of games now that are unfortunately not going to get played, it looks, as the week progresses. But yesterday, the NFL played. And full disclosure, Sunday for the ECSI VIP crew, Sunday Fun Day Action Parlay. And we got reverse sweep, but it was a parlay. So once you lose one leg, it didn't matter. We were on the Vikings money line, and the game was kind of given away when you're trying to keep up with the Rams and you got first and goal from the 10 or 8 where it was, and Cousins being Cousins throws the pick. And of course now you're playing catch up, and 2 times in the second half you got within a field goal or a score, and then you give up the punt return for a touchdown. So just the team again, that it's been right there every game, and just I think a lot of teams are going to look in the mirror and blow some stuff up. I'm not saying to fire Zimmer. I'm not saying to get rid of um, Cousins, but I don't know. I mix. They have one of the best young wide receivers in the game there with do have pieces in place. Zimmer, if he was fired today, there'd be someone knocking on his door tomorrow. I mean, maybe for an OC or whatever, but they do have the pieces in place. So that was one. Number 2, Denver, money line. Again, that game went to a pick. It was a pure coin flip. Denver had opportunities, and Raiders just, I don't want to say wanted it more, but wanted it more. They just, you talked about Locke being put into those positions. And again, these are quarterbacks in tough spots needing to score that I don't want to say haven't been put in this position because they played in college and they have had opportunities in the NFL. But as Mac Jones yesterday, again, they're just, I don't want to say they're not ready for prime time. It takes time. That's all it does. And obviously, Denver, and I said this on draft day, I've said this all year. I'll say it again. They got caught with their pants down, okay? At the number 9 spot in the draft, Justin Fields was there. And I think in the back of their mind, they thought that they had Aaron Rodgers, and they didn't choose to draft Fields, who I would have handed a clipboard, said, hey, take a year off, and you were set now for the next decade. But that's another thing. And then the laugher, of course, and again, it didn't matter. We had Washington football team plus 10.5. We got it through 10, and I knew 5 minutes in at 14-0, that game was over. So that was it there. But I'm going to just put out the numbers here so everyone can see. Favorites were 6-6, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek. It depends on what you got for your Buffalo Patriots game. It also depends on what you got for your Denver and Vegas. The overs were a big hit, 9-3. Big dogs of cash. The Texans killed 6 or 8 people in the Survivor Millions with a plus 600 outright. And the Bears not only tie it up against Seattle, get the 2-point conversion. And there's another team, Scotty. I'm sorry. Thanks for what you've done, Pete. If you want to retire, the door's there. If you want to come upstairs, the door's there. But it's time. It's time. And I think Russell will be in one of the New York spots. And someone brought up this earlier this past week. I think it'd be kind of creative. The talk is the Giants, But what about if the Jets called Seattle and said, hey, we'll give you Zach Wilson and we'll give you our draft pick this year for a Russell Wilson. So that's it from me. A recap on Sunday, Scott. I know you had an amazing day. Thoughts, what you saw, what you're seeing, and of course, we have a Monday night game tonight.
Well, I'm just looking at my little cheat sheet here that I had. That these were the plays I talked about on the show. I took the Detroit Lions plus the 7 yesterday. They never really got behind more than 7. They were behind by 7, but they. And again, they had a backup quarterback and all that other stuff. But it's because they're a scrappy team and it's the Falcons. So how can the Falcons be 7-point favorites over anybody? So that was the idea. The idea was to battle tough with the Lions, and they had a chance to win the game. They got a turnover late and drove down the field and threw an interception on I think the 3-yard line or something, and the game was over. So. That's all part of the NFL, but I think that that was play number 1. Play number 2 was the Kansas City Chiefs, and I took them minus the 11 points, and when we talked about it on the show, it was more or less, what the hell is Pittsburgh going to do in this game? And I think that you saw that. I mean, that they could do nothing, and there was I don't want to say it was a precursor to what happened on Sunday Night Football, but at the same time, it's one of these spots where the matchup just doesn't work. And when you're Pittsburgh and you're trying to win games by hiding your flaws, I think that's a hard thing to do when you have the Kansas City Chiefs in front of you, because they're going to exploit all your flaws as much as possible. And then the other game I played was the Los Angeles, Minnesota game, and I played it over 49. And of course, at halftime, I'm sitting there going, "Shit, that's a loser." But they finally started putting some points on the board. I mean, what happened in this game was turnover city. Every time they got the ball down inside the 20-yard line, Minnesota would throw the ball into somebody else's hands, or fumble, or do something else, or miss a field goal, or whatever the hell they were doing, and they didn't score. So I was getting all bent out of shape. But it's the NFL. These teams score lots of points. I talked about Philadelphia Eagles yesterday and how I thought that team was being overlooked. And then hell, at halftime, I think it was 7-3 or some shit. And they were behind for the whole first quarter and all that stuff against the damn Giants. Of course, they ended up winning the game 34-10 or something like that. So they blew them out. But the point being is that some of this stuff is weird on how it flows and what the game flow looks like. If you would have bet the first half of that game, you probably didn't cover. But if you bet the whole game, you were like, holy shit, this was a no sweat game. But you were sweating at halftime, I guarantee it. So the two games that I left off the board I didn't play yesterday, I got Cincinnati, Baltimore over 41.5, and I got the Los Angeles -3, which all of those would have won. That's not the point. The point that the point is that sometimes you see the board pretty good, and sometimes you see the board you think is pretty good, and then all of a sudden you get slapped in the face. So you don't sit here and be all like, oh God, I'm the greatest guy in the world, I saw the board good today. Because I guarantee you the betting gods are out there, and they're going to go, holy shit, you dumbass, and smack the shit right out of you. And then you're going to go, well, there we go, back to reality again. So, and that brings us to today, because today's really a tough one.
No, and I'm glad you brought up that last point, because it's been a rough December for the VIPs. We had a nice little 6.5 to 1 2 weeks ago that we popped on the action parlay, but for actually gaining traction, where you get into one of these ruts where you win one, lose two, you win two, lose three, and it's part of the business. It's part of the marathon approach. It's the process. And so we're in the last week of 2021 as we get geared up for 2022, and as we tally up the weeks, the months, and see where we stand, we will be in the green this year. But the point of the matter is, the people that jumped in at September had a great September, a good October, and November and December has been up and down. So it all depends upon your approach when you jumped in, and if you're all in, okay? And you said it perfectly. There are days, weeks that the board is just singing to you like a choir. It's like, oh, and it's just amazing. And with that, you're getting every break. You're getting every bounce. You're getting every walk-off homer. You're getting that double play in the ninth. The two free throws with a half second left to cover. The empty net goal. When you're struggling, every one of those is magnified, and you're getting squadoosh. You're not getting any of them. And every missed field goal, every missed extra point. I mean, I talk about the Cardinals on Saturday night. Prater single-handedly lost that game. 2 missed field goals, a missed extra point, and the defense throws in a safety. That's 9 points right there. And I'm not saying the Cardinals were the right side, but I still strongly think it was right side, wrong result. And that happens a lot also in this business. So it's not for the weak of heart, and it's not for Scratch Ticket Central. It's not get rich quick here. And that's the mentality of, I think, a lot of Twitter gambling or gambling Twitter, whatever you want to call it and however you want to say it. And it's the mentality of the millennials, because every which way you turn, it's in-game plays. It's 5-10. It used to be cute, I'd say, not too long ago, with the 5, 6, 8, 9, 10-legged parlays. Darren Rovell of Action Network throws out something 2 days ago on social media, a 25-legged parlay that came in. I'll just stop right there. Enough's enough. Okay. If it's real, it's real. God bless you. There's Photoshop and there's ticket. There are so many ways these things are so crooked. I'm just going to stop there, Scott.
Well, I think that us old school guys have to realize a couple of things. I think number one, we know this business, and I think that's I think that's something that we're trying to teach people, or at least that's what I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to teach people this business and try to help them out. But there's a new breed of people, and of course they're humans just like everybody else, but their way of thinking is different, right? So back in the day, my parents went to a job. They stayed in the job. My dad retired from the city of Columbus, Ohio, worked there for 30 years or whatever, and that's what he did. People don't do that shit no more, and the reason they don't do that anymore is because they have learned that you can make $1 million just playing video games. You can do a lot of different things to make money these days. So the kids in the world are out there trying to figure out how to go through life, make as much money as they can, and not work very hard. And I shouldn't say it that way. I guess that's not the right way to say it. They're probably hard workers, but they're finding different avenues that aren't, a 9-to-5 type job thing where they got to be there for 30 years and work for somebody else. They're trying to find ways to make a living on their own and make a living for they don't, like you and I, we try to make a living together. But at the same time, somebody else might be, making, pot holders or something, and they're selling those. So the point, though, is that as we sit here and talk to the public, we're sharing the information, and I don't want to call it the old school way, but this is what the business is. The kids who are getting involved in this are trying to change the narrative of the game. And they're trying to do different things that where they can try to run these 25-legged parlays and 10s and 10s and 15s and whatever. And sure, one of these are going to hit every once in a while. I mean, that's just the way it works. I don't believe it until I actually see that it was actually paid out and somebody won the money. But the point being is that the game is different, right? So you and I talk in terms of units and things like that, and that means something. Because that's how we teach the approach. However, the kids are playing the game and they're on Twitter and they're doing this shit where they're, all they care about is units. Shit. Well, then I'm playing 10 units on this game and 5 units on that one and 8 units on this one and 30 on that one, because all I got to show is a positive return on units. And then people will start paying me for plays. That's the way the game works with the kids. They're not playing the same game. They're not doing the same thing. They're trying to find a way to, I don't want to say manipulate, because that's not the right word that they're using. They're understanding and creating their own market, their own industry, and their own spot and niche in this business. However, what I will tell you is that if you're following these kids, good luck to you. Because they're leading you astray and they're leading you down the path that is not successful. And, I make fun of EV Plus and I make fun of CLV and I make fun of some of this other stuff all the time. However, there is value to it. I mean, it's an approach that will teach you strategy It is an approach that will teach you things that you should have learned over time and how to incorporate that stuff. The biggest reason why I think I make fun of that kind of stuff is because of the amount of people who say, well, I lost the bet, but I get great on CLV. Okay, nobody gives a shit. No, nobody cares if you're great at CLV because that doesn't mean you're a winning gambler. CLV is important. Don't get me wrong. You want to get your money in on the right side of these wagers. You don't want to be betting the wrong sets of numbers. And CLV is one way to measure that. But that doesn't mean that it's the end all be all everything that you have to have. So I want to make sure I preface that by saying it the right way. I make fun of the people because that's what they fall back on and say, oh my God, I'm still a great gambler because I got great CLV. Nobody cares. Trust me, they don't care. All they care about is, did you cash a ticket at the window or did you not? Because we're not sitting here with the guy that's across from the desk. Like we're not having a guy walk into our offices and go, hey, I want to sit down and I want to make some investments. And then he sits there and goes, I want to play this game and this game and this game. And then we go bet them for him. That's not what we do. We teach you how to do it. We tell you the plays we're on, and hopefully you're following those things, because the truth is that we don't lose. I mean, long term, we don't. So, there's going to be short term when it happens. And, we get on these big runs, and I'm kind of on a pretty good run right now. So the point being is, as we're doing these things, just pay attention, try to pick up what you can, incorporate what you can, and then apply that. I'm getting all this philosophical on us right here, but that's because I'm writing that damn book, Jeff. It's almost done. So just FYI.
And I'm just going to close with this, because there are people on social media that live and die by CLV. Okay, they're EV, and they preach to whoever wants to listen, that says it doesn't matter if you walk into a casino and win 20 in a row, okay, and you're just on fire and you're just randomly picking games and everything is, puppies, cupcakes, and unicorns, okay? But the other guy who's nothing but EV, CLV might go 8 and 12 during those 20, and they're going to ban him, or they're going to cut his numbers, because they're considering him sharp. He's got the closing line value. He's got the EV, and you're just on a heater. That's all. And I don't agree with that at all. And I talked till I was blue in the face in LA this week in the NFL Bet Exchange, and with you and to everyone here that wanted to listen. The Patriots and the Bills. Okay, that line opened at a pick'em. Why did it open at a pick'em? Because Vegas made a stand on the Bills. They wanted the Patriot money, and what happened? They got the Patriot money all the way up to 2.5. We had a show yesterday morning where overnight, Saturday into Sunday, the shops came back in and they bought in on the Bills at 2.5 to 1.5, and in some spots it even went off as a pick'em. Okay, so all the guys that had the Patriots had a pick. -1, -1.5. They just crawl into their little holes and they have a losing ticket, and you can walk through the whole board and you can find, because a lot of the public, a lot of the normal people don't have access to those numbers. They don't. So the casino releases them to their sharps the night before. They give you a 2-hour window where you can bet up to 2 dimes on the game. They evaluate, and then they release it to the public. So what good is the open in line real number versus the public number that they got? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole point, right? So what I will tell you about CLV that's important is that, say the line opened at 6.5, and you feel as though that on Thursday you need to bet that because somebody's going to come in and take it to 7. And then you bet it at 6.5, and you want the favorite at -6.5. And then it gets bet up to 7.5, and then people are betting it, and it falls 7 on Sunday. That's where CLV is important. It's important because, yes, you were able to get it at the 6.5. Other people paid 7.5 and lost. So the point is that you don't want to chase the number and bet a bad number. If you had 6.5 available or even 7 available, but you bet it at 7.5, that's the wrong thing to do. But that's
And
how you use CLV.
yeah, and a lot of these guys that quote unquote are getting banned or say they're getting banned, or they're only can bet $18 on these games. What they are doing is exactly what you just talked about. Okay, is they got the Pats and a pick 'em, and let's just say the Bills got all the way up to +3. Then they're taking the Bills plus the 3. That's all they're doing. So they're putting 20K on the Patriots at a pick 'em, and the Bills for 20K, and they're what's that word called?
They're hoping for a middle.
Yeah, no, other than the middle, there's a word there that they're doing. It's not hedging, it's shot, not there's a word that it's called where they're actually, again, they're in on one side at 2.5 and they're on the other side at 3.5. They're hoping it lands on 3. There's a word that I'll have ready for 2 tomorrow. It's called something, and that's how these guys are getting banned. They're not there to pick winners. They're there to window shop and try and it is what it is. So 7-3 in your football game. Nevada comes down, kicks a field goal, and Western Michigan says not so fast. They come right down and get a touchdown. So I'm going to bring up today's Wager Talk board at wagertalk.com. Free odds. Anyone here watching and listening would like to follow along, just go to there and pull that up. I'm just going to put the whole board up, Scotty. I know we only have one NFL game up there. It's an intriguing game. Rotation number 481, 482, 8:15 kickoff. Miami travels to New Orleans. The game opened up New Orleans -3.5, and then obviously due to COVID, due to injuries, due to coaches, now Miami is 3 favorite. 77% of the bets, 79% of the money, all coming in on Miami. An under over that opened at 40 and a hook, now 37 and a hook. So right there, simple math. Vegas is telling you 2017 Miami, a Miami team that's won 6 in a row. A New Orleans team that will start Ian Book, the Notre Dame quarterback. Rumor has it that they actually reached out to Drew Brees, and he sent him a picture on the golf course. Said thanks, but no thanks, coach. So there it is, Scotty. Take it away.
Well, yeah, this is an interesting game because here we go again with the how much is a player worth. And if you're looking at a team that was -3 or -3.5, we'll just use 3 just because it makes it easier. And they're now +3. What is that? A 7-point move? Because that's a touchdown. So what you're then telling me is that these backup quarterbacks that New Orleans had, where we're 7 goddamn points to the line, they're not. And I get it that everybody's missing players and everybody has these issues and all that stuff. But they're not. It's an overreaction again. These are big numbers that are changing. If one team is worth -3 and now they're +3, hell, they better be missing, they better be missing almost everybody. And I get it that in some spots they are, but they're not at running back. They got Kamara back, and he's going to play. They're not on their special teams, and they're not on certain other spots because I looked it up, and I'm like, who's missing? Well, yeah, they're missing the quarterback. Okay, so Ian Book's going to be the quarterback tonight. Well, what kind of a game plan do you think that Sean Payton's going to put together for an Ian Book? I bet it's going to be very similar to the one he has for Trevor Siemian, and I bet it's very similar to the one that he's going to have for the quarterback that runs the ball all over the place. So they're not going to be a team that's going to throw the ball all over the place. That's not what they do. They're going to win on defense, and that's what they're going to try to do. And when I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? So let's look. So the Dolphins, they have a quarterback in Tua, and do we think Tua's any good? I don't think he's any good. But at the same time that I say that, he's not terrible, but I don't think he's any good. And I don't think he's worth 7 points to the line and all that bullshit. So these teams are going to both play defense. So who's got the better defense and who's got the better defensive line? Well, looking at it on Football Outsiders, the New Orleans Saints have the number 2 defensive line in all of football. And the Miami Dolphins have the number 10 defensive line in all of football. So good. They both are top 10 defensive lines, but New Orleans is much better. And if you switch it to the offensive line, neither one of them have a good offensive line, but New Orleans ranks 27th in offensive line. Miami's is 30th. So if you're going to take the New Orleans Saints defensive line against the Miami Dolphins 30th offensive line, I like that matchup. I like the idea that Miami, and do we think Miami has a big running game? I don't think they got a big running game. So this is going to be a low scoring, tight affair. It's going to be one of those scenarios where, okay, so whose special teams is better? And you know what? I will look just because I didn't look before. And let's pull this up. And then the special teams number is, let's see. Miami's is 25th and New Orleans is 15th. So New Orleans has a better defensive line. They have a better special teams. And theoretically, are you going to like Sean Payton or are you going to like the coach? Not that he's a bad coach for the Dolphins, but are you going to take Sean Payton over that guy? I would. So I sit here and I go, you got a better head coach. You got a better defensive line. You got a better special teams, and they're at home, and they flipped the damn thing by 7 points. Okay, give me the New Orleans plus the 3. I'll take it all day long.
You know, it's a game that, you could break down. You could give up every scenario. A Miami team that's won 6 in a row. And now with the Patriot loss, the Patriots now are 8-6. And Miami plays the Pats the last game of the year. So it is a big game for Miami. The loser will go to 7-8 here. I'm going to just grab some popcorn and do Tuesday and Wednesday's menu as of right now, unless something breaks. I think it's a true coin flip. And I'm going to just close it with this, Scott.
Yeah, but do you know who they? Let's go over the and not to interrupt you, that bad, but the Dolphins. You know who they beat in the last their winning streak? They beat the Houston Texans to start it, and then
hold on. Who just beat the Chargers, by the way?
Sure, they beat the Houston Texans. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the New York Jets. They beat the Carolina Panthers. They beat the New York Giants. And they beat the New York Jets again.
But here's my point. My point here was I was actually going the other way in this regards. They've won 6 in a row, and I'm going to guarantee you that probably of those 6 games, 5 of them, they were underdogs. This is the first time now they're put in this spot. And as we speak, Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum out with COVID. They're favored. Now they're expected to win. When these guys are expected to win, they generally don't. And it's like when you're the dog and you're chasing, those are the good old days. But when you have the target on your back and you're the favorite and expected to win, that's generally when it doesn't happen. So it'll be interesting to see, obviously, how this game plays out. It's a game, again, where it has a lot of meaning for both teams. Win and you get to 8-7, you still got life. To lose, well, you kind of start to play out the string there. As we see, I just lost my train of thought there. Still 7-3 in the bowl game there. Scott, for tomorrow, any on the guide as we're coming up? I'm trying to see if I'm going to pull up the scratches as we speak here. Let me do something here to get everyone here on the same page. Survey set. All right, so we had the East Carolina BC game canceled today. Wednesday, the Virginia SMU has been canceled at Fenway. Miami and Washington on New Year's Eve has now been postponed. Any other games that you've seen or heard that have been postponed?
No, they're looking to replace Miami in that game. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I mean, Washington State has basically said we'll play anybody, and I think that they're trying to figure out if they can make that happen in some way. So I wouldn't be surprised if that game goes somehow, some way. I mean, Rutgers is now playing in a New Year's Day bowl, our New Year's Eve bowl, in the Gator Bowl as a replacement team. They're going to end up playing Wake Forest. So it wouldn't surprise me if they found a team that was able to play, but I have not seen any other games get canceled, and I've not heard of any other games that are on the brink of being canceled. But that's I mean, Tuesday we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 college bowl games on Tuesday. And some of them are kind of fun. That Houston Auburn game's kind of fun. I kind of like that game. I like Houston in that game. And then I think Air Force in Louisville is kind of fun. I mean, when's the last time? I can't remember Louisville playing a military school in a long time. So I just think that one's kind of fun. That NC State UCLA game will be a fun game. So there's some of these games that I think will be pretty fun. And we'll I mean, I don't know if you want me to break some of these down. I got the book up right now, so I mean I can look.
I was just making sure because I had those 3 games. Yes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So everyone watching, listening, that don't have your notifications on, turn them on, please, and then shoot over to YouTube and Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors and subscribe. It's free. Tell a friend, retweet, help us out here. We got some big stuff brewing here in 2022 on these live streams and Twitch, and potentially actually going live on some streams that we hope to be breaking real soon if that goes down. 5 college games tomorrow. Scotty leans New Orleans tonight. Plus, what'd you get? 3 and a hook, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to quantify these as official plays and all that stuff, but I played it. I mean, but that's just the betting angle and the betting solutions that I came up with. I think that that's the right way to handle these games. And it's a very similar thing in that Nevada Western Michigan game. These lines are just overreactions, and it's I like to go opposite of those overreactions.
All right. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest and Scott Webb at Webby20 MLB, we wish everyone the best today. Stay positive, test negative. I always got to steal that from Mr. Rothstein. I love that one. Anyone wagering today, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want to see you in 2022 and beyond. So everyone here, best of luck. Wager responsibly. Have a blessed day. And myself and Scott will see you tomorrow morning.